So things are a little bit different today, because I'm actually up early. Not because I chose to wake up at a much earlier time than normal, but because I have an extreme headache. This is really, really bad, and it caused me to wake up a lot earlier than expected. But as a result, I gotta wait for this Tylenol to kick in before I'm able to go back to sleep, and there is a really urgent, major topic to dive into right now. For Montreal Canadiens fans, we now have ourselves a big sigh of relief, because it was just announced earlier this morning that one Lane Hutson has won the 2025 Calder Trophy. And it wasn't really close when you look at the votes here. This is the breakdown as to all of the points given out to the players. There were, 13 names that were nominated for the Calder Trophy, but Lane Hutson got most of the first place votes by far. 165 votes for first place, 26 votes for second place. And interestingly enough, the second place guy for first place votes was none other than Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames. The guy whom a lot of folks were saying was the biggest challenger for Hutson and his Calder Trophy was Macklin Celebrini, and he was technically third in the voting process here. You can see, scrolling down some of the other names, Matvei Mishkov had 0 first place votes, but 151 fourth place votes. Cutter Gauthier had 74 fifth place votes. Will Smith, Stankoven, all up in there too. Kind of unfortunate for Logan Stankoven because he, I feel, was a much higher candidate earlier on in the 24-25 campaign. But we all recognize that throughout the course of the season, he was given a lesser role, and then he was inevitably traded over to Carolina, and that kind of steered away a lot of the momentum that Stankoven had to open up the 24-25 season. Marco Kasper had only 7 votes in 5th place, 0 votes in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. I do think that's a little bit underrated. But ultimately, that doesn't matter much. Lane Hutson was really close to unanimous here, and there were only 26 names who voted for the Calder that did not have Lane Hutson as their number 1 pick. Honestly, Dustin Wolf being a candidate for number 2, that makes a lot of sense here. He was very important for the Calgary Flames, and him being second over Macklin Celebrini does illustrate just how other analysts were viewing this situation for the Flames. Now, if you go over to Lane Hutson and how he was able to walk away with this trophy, I mean, it makes total sense. The guy had 60 assists as an NHL rookie, a D-man for crying out loud. Sure, he only had 6 goals, but if there's one thing about Lane Hutson that I think we can all agree on is that this guy has had such an incredible ability to improve everywhere throughout the course of his hockey playing career. He had 15 goals in the NCAA in back-to-back seasons before becoming a Canadian. So as long as this guy is able to just kind of move around in the O-zone, get that confidence up a little bit more, and have the willingness to shoot the puck towards the net, there is no telling how far Lane Hutson and his goal-scoring capabilities can go as he continues at 22, 23, 24 years old at the NHL level. This guy has been so good, and when you just look at the numbers, it's so rare to see an NHL player get 60 points in this age range in the first place. So for Hutson to be able to do that, I mean, he was already, 10th overall? 12th overall? He was tied for 9th overall in the NHL in assists this year, tied with Quinn Hughes for crying out loud. And Quinn displays a very similar type of play style. So it's kind of poetic to see him be right in that area too, considering the similarities between their play. Finally, there was the really nice video of Lane Hutson winning the Calder, him and his friends and family, they all gathered at a restaurant, the Onion Pub in Lake Barrington, Illinois, and you can see that the trophy was awarded to Hutson. His family had to hide from him the fact that he ended up winning the award. They tried their best to keep it a secret, and Hutson, I mean, you can see when he walks in, they say, oh yeah, we're here to celebrate you getting nominated, and you can see he's like, okay, like, interesting. He doesn't look all too pleased based off of his body language there. And then he ends up winning the actual award, and you can see his tone change immediately. He is looking super excited, super stoked. And then he does his interviews, and that is exactly what we expected out of him. He becomes super serious and then talks about the Montreal Canadiens and how much he appreciates being on the Habs, and he's a really interesting guy, that Lane Hutson. You can tell he's just so committed to the craft, and he doesn't really have anything else going on in his mind there. So, Lane Hutson, he was the right guy to end up winning the Calder Trophy in the 2024-2025 NHL season. If we go over the previous Calder winners, this is where we dive into the list of who else won the trophy. I mean, you go back as far back, 10 years, Artemi Panarin, Austin Matthews, Matthew Barzal, Elias Pettersson, Cale Makar, Kirill Kaprizov, Moritz Seider, Matty Beniers, Connor Bedard, Lane Hutson. All of these guys ended up becoming very good NHL players. Cale Makar, man, if Cale Makar just did not go up in the same Calder year as Quinn Hughes, things would have been a little bit different. Like, seriously. Vancouver had 3 years worth of finalists for the Calder in a row between Besser, Pettersson, and Quinn Hughes. If Quinn just wasn't playing off against Cale Makar that season, he probably would have won against any of these other guys. But now, Lane Hutson had himself a season for the ages with that 60-assist marker, producing so many points, and just being the top D-man for all young rookies. Definitely disappointing to see Stankoven fall out of favor. Matvei Mishkov fell out of favor there too. But ultimately the test of longevity belonged to Hutson, Dustin Wolf, as well as Macklin Celebrini. I honestly did think that Celebrini had a really underrated chance to win it, but hey, I guess the votes tell a much different story, right? So, if you are a fan of the Montreal Canadiens and Lane Hutson, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Hutson winning the Calder Memorial Trophy as the NHL's Rookie of the Year. What are your opinions on the final decision? Do you think this was worth it? He received 165 of 191 first-place votes. So really, he was as close to unanimous as you can get. I know it's technically not unanimous, but he was right up in there. Such a dominant result here for Hutson and the Montreal Canadiens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.